What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and in today's video, I'm going to give you the step-by-step process of house hacking. I'm also going to explain why this is the best way to invest in real estate because it gives you the ability to start investing with almost no money. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it. All right, guys, I am so pumped about this video, and I'm pumped about it for a couple reasons. The first reason is because it gives you the ability to start investing in real estate with almost no money, and it is a process that you can duplicate over and over and over again. The other reason I'm so pumped about this video is this actual video can be found in my course where I show you how to go from 0 doors of rental real estate to over 100 doors of rental real estate. So if you like this video, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell because my goal on this channel is to help you to build a huge passive income. And if you really love this video, make sure you hit the link below down in the description where you can get $50 off my real estate investing course that is over 8 hours of video just like this, giving you the step-by-step process to go from no doors to over 100 doors of rental real estate. Now, with all of that being said, let's jump into showing you how to house hack. So step number 1 of house hacking is going and getting pre-approved, and not just getting pre-approved, but getting pre-approved for the right loan. Because the reason house hacking is so awesome is it gives you the ability to invest in a property with a very low down payment. For example, if you were to go in and say, hey, I want to buy this fourplex, but you weren't living in it, you would have to put 25% down. That means if it's a $400,000 fourplex, you have to put $100,000 down to be able to purchase that fourplex. However, if you use the house hacking strategy, you can get as low as only 3.5% down. That means on the same $400,000 property, you could purchase it with under $15,000 of your own money locked up in it. And so it's so crucial to go in, sit down with a loan officer and see not only how much you can get approved for, so you know how much property you can buy, but make sure that you can get approved for an FHA loan or a conventional loan with you living in the property so that you can get a very low down payment. Now, if you do an FHA loan, you can get only 3.5% down. If you do a conventional loan where you're living in the property, you can get as low as 5% down. And so recognize living in the property, house hacking a property gives you the ability to get into it for a much lower down payment, but you've got to make sure that you've gotten pre-approved, you know that you can get the right loan, and you know how much you're approved for so that you can start shopping. Now, one of the big concerns people have when putting a lower down payment is they say, Chandler, well, that's cool, but then I have to pay more in mortgage insurance, and so isn't that a bad thing? And here's my answer to that. Yes, it's always a bummer when you have to pay more, but if you find a property where the numbers work, it's always better to get into a property where the numbers work with only $15,000 than having to wait until you have $100,000. And that's why house hacking is so huge. And if you find a property where the numbers work, you don't care about paying extra insurance because your numbers work with that extra insurance. And we're going to talk about that later, but don't stress mortgage insurance. Just make sure that you can get pre-approved for the right loan. And now it's time to start shopping. Which brings us to step number 2, which is you need to decide which kind of property you're going to invest in. Now, there are a couple different ways to house hack. The first way is using a single family home. And so what you would do is you would purchase a single family home and then rent out bedrooms. Now, if you're single, this is an awesome option. But if you're married and your wife's like mine is, she probably isn't gonna be super pumped on you living in the home with a bunch of other single dudes or other married couples living in the home. So that's when it's time to transition and not get a single family home, but you can still house hack by buying a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are saying, well, Chandler, why not do a 5-plex or a 10-plex? Well, here's the deal. You can only get this financing where you can get into the property for a low down payment if it is 4 units or less. And so your focus needs to be on either a single family home, a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. Once you've decided which kind of property you're shopping for, now it's time to go to step number 3, and that is finding a good realtor. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of you saying, Chandler, do I have to get a realtor? Is that really required? And here's my answer. I think you should always get a realtor because they can have a funnel over here. And if they find you a property where the numbers work, then you win because you're not gonna buy it unless your numbers work. And a lot of people are saying, well, Chandler, what if I can find it on my own and do a for sale by owner and get a better deal? Well, here's the deal. That's awesome. That's another great option. But if you're a new investor, using a realtor is going to help you to get through the contract. They're going to help you with a lot of new stuff that maybe you don't understand. And you're not going to buy the property unless the numbers work anyways. So you can have your realtor over here that you're using, but you can also be looking on your own. And if you find a for sale by owner property, you can do that on your own or pay a couple $100 to your realtor to still help you through the process. So I would still say that you go and find a realtor, you learn from them because they are free until you buy a property, and you're not going to buy a property unless your numbers work. Now, once you've done that, you can go to step number 4, which is start shopping. Now, this involves a couple different things. First off, it's going to involve you getting inside of properties, getting an understanding of what a good property is and what a bad property is, and what exactly you're looking for, what the rents are going to be, so that you can understand the numbers. Now, a lot of people say, well, Chandler, how do you figure out the numbers on a house hack? Because it's a lot different than a normal investment property because you're living in it and you're not paying rent somewhere else. So that has to be looked at as an advantage. And my answer to you is 100%. When I analyze the numbers on a property, the way that I do it is I view it as if I'm not house hacking it. What that means is I look at it and I run the numbers as if I'm putting a 25% down payment and I need to get my desired 15% cash on cash return. Now, this is my criteria for a normal investment property. And remember, when you're house hacking, your goal is to get to the point where it is a normal investment. Because when you house hack, you have to live in the property for 1 year. That locks in your ability to get it for a low down payment. But after that, you can totally move out and do it all over again. And so when house hacking, I'm gonna view it as if I'm not living in it. I wanna see my end result. So I'm going to run the rents and I'm gonna run the numbers as if I put 25% down and I'm trying to get a 15% cash on cash return. When it comes to the rents, if I'm in a fourplex and I'm living in one of the units, then I'm going to run the numbers as if I'm not living in the unit. I wanna see what the gross rents would be, and I wanna run the numbers so I can see the end result. Now, again, once you purchase the property, you're not going to have 25% down and you are gonna be living in it. So your numbers are gonna be different. But because you're putting down such a low down payment, if you run the numbers as if you're not living in it with a low down payment, your cash on cash return is going to be big if you've purchased it right. And so the mistake people make is they run the numbers as if putting a low down payment, but they're still only trying to get a 15% cash on cash return. That is not going to be enough cash flow with how small of a down payment you've put down. That's why you want to run them as if you've got 25% down and you're trying to get a 15% cash on cash return. Because the other mistake people make is they think a deal isn't good as it will be down the road. And so this gives you a very simple process. Now you might be saying, well, Chandler, that sounds complicated. It's not complicated at all. If you just focus on a 25% down and getting a 15% cash on cash return, then that's going to guarantee that your numbers will work with the lower down payment and when you move out of a property. Now, if you're someone that says, Chandler, I want a house hack, but here's the deal. I want to buy a nicer fourplex that me and my wife are happy with. It's a decision between buying a nicer fourplex or buying a home that we're just gonna live in and we're not gonna house hack. But if I get something that's nicer where the return is smaller, then I can totally sell me and my wife on buying an investment property. And so I'm willing to settle for a 10% cash on cash return. I totally understand that argument, and it's always better to get into a fourplex than into a home that isn't going to be cash flowing for you. And so when you buy a fourplex, even if your cash flow is smaller, you're still gonna get your cash flow, your appreciation, your principal pay down, and your tax benefits. And so I still consider that a win. However, I don't think you should buy something that's going to be negative cash flow even after you move out. Now, you've got to decide what your desired return is. Mine is always going to be that 15%, but it's okay for you to figure out what's best because again, you're getting into a property with such a small down, you're not having to pay rent somewhere else. So I see the upsides. However, you now know how I would analyze it, and I promise you, if you analyze it that way, it's going to be a huge win as a house hack. So step number 5 is start making offers. And here's the deal with putting in offers. I do think you should lowball. However, you don't want to go so low that no one offers back. But when you're getting into investing and you're looking at those first couple properties, if you want to lowball super hard, go for it. That's totally okay. You do whatever you want in this negotiation process. Just remember, set whatever your desired return is. Know what your purchase price needs to be to get that desired return, and do not accept an offer above wherever that falls. Because one of the big mistakes I see people make, especially when house hacking, is they get emotionally attached. And people do this even when they're not gonna live in the property, but don't get emotional, all right? If you're truly wanting to make a good investment, don't get into the emotional part of your brain. Hold to the numbers. Don't go above where your numbers need to be. And if you do that, I promise you're gonna get the desired return you want in the end. Now, again, I have to throw this in there. If you do get emotional, if you do buy a property with crappy numbers, but it's still a fourplex that's positive cash flowing in the future, is that still a win compared to other options? Yes, it is. But again, if you want a house hack properly, hold to your criteria, put in your offer, and don't go above the number that you need. Now, again, you can lowball and work your way up, but do not go above where that number needs to be so that you can get your desired return once you move out of the property, and so that you can have a bigger upside while you're in the property. Because remember, the better deal you buy, the more of your rent that you're gonna have someone else paying for, and you could potentially even be into a place where you've got positive cash flow if you really buy a property right. So hold to your numbers and don't be afraid to put in offers, because guess what? You're gonna put in all of these offers dependent on inspection, and that'll give you time to do more due diligence, make sure there aren't any issues with the property, and even if you get cold feet and you want to bail in the end, which you shouldn't do if your numbers work, you can, because you put the purchase dependent on inspection. And then just make sure you get everything done before that inspection period is up so that you can say yay or nay and move forward with the purchase. Which leads us to number 6, which is getting your offer accepted and then going through the closing process. Now, when going through the closing process, you want to make sure everything lines up, that the interest rate's there, that the down payment's there, that the closing costs are where you expected them to be, and that you're getting any rents from the tenants that were in there prorated, and that you're getting all deposits, and that everything is there the way that it's supposed to be before you ever go to the closing table, so that when you do get to the closing table, you can go through the numbers one more time and you already know that they're going to be right where they need to be. And once you've closed, congratulations, you have started the house hacking process, because you now own a property that you're living in with a very low down payment, and other people are probably paying your rent, and you're hopefully cash flowing. So number 7 is moving in, making sure that you've got the property managed properly and that you're being very smart with your expenses. Now, you can shoot the moon, you can live however you want to. However, if you want to win on a house hack, you make sure you don't overspend, but you spend properly. But make sure you spend what's required to take care of your property. That way you're living cheap, someone else is paying your rent, you're hopefully cash flowing, and you are in a win-win-win situation. And now it's just time to wait until number 8, which is you have completed the year. You no longer have to stay in the property to legally not be committing loan fraud to be able to get that FHA loan or that lower down payment loan. Congratulations, no loan fraud. But number 8 is repeat, all right? That's how I would do this, is I would do this process over and over and over again. but you don't have to. That's what's so great about house hacking is if you decide you're happy living there, having your other tenants pay your rent and continuing to save up for that next rental property, whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, you do you, but you just house hack to put yourself in an awesome situation and you're in a place after 1 year that you can do it again. And guys, that's how you house hack. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell, because my goal is to help you to build a huge passive income. And by doing those things, yes, it'll help the algorithm, but it will also guarantee that you see all of my future goals where I can help you to build that huge passive income. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.